Hey everyone, and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you're watching Boyd News. Want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a very big lineup of news to brief you all on today. Today's date is October 6, 2025, and it's Monday. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and I hope you guys all had a great weekend. We've got a lot of news to cover with this war update today. We'll start out with a massive story out of Crimea, as overnight, Ukrainian drones struck a major oil depot located in the settlement of Feodosia on the eastern side of the peninsula. Let's talk about this report here on your screen. Ukrainian drones set fire to Russia's largest oil terminal in Crimea. The facility can store up to 250,000 tons of fuel and supplies for both Russia's Black Sea Fleet and ground forces. A fuel tank exploded, sparking a large blaze in the settlement of Feodosia. This was video footage coming out from that area showing a huge fire from this oil terminal or oil depot. You can call it whatever you want. But from what we understand, at least one oil tank was struck, and we had a huge fire that ensued soon after. And I believe it was due to Ukrainian drones. So we'll be talking more about this. I've got numerous videos to show you guys today. We also have information that two thermal power plants were attacked by Ukraine and Russia overnight in the Belgorod and Bryansk regions. Power outages reported in those areas. So Belgorod thermal power plant was just attacked. I believe it was like late last week. Could have been like Thursday or Friday, somewhere around there. We just reported that. And now again, Ukraine went ahead and bombed it overnight. Again, more power outages reported. And apparently the Bryansk thermal power plant is also a combined heat and power plant. So apparently in the Bryansk region, we're hearing reports also that people are running out of heating as well due to gas facilities that were struck at that combined heat and power plant. So lots of news to cover, guys. I'd rather just jump right into this. There's more stories that we'll be talking about today as well. Lots of hits inside of Russia overnight. Let's go ahead and hop right into this. We're going to jump on over here to X with Nexta. And we have a list of different targets that Ukraine was going after last night inside of Russia. So we'll start off with this. And it says Ukraine on fire. 8 airports closed, blackout near Belgorod, and fires from 2 apps to Belgorod. Let's sum it up. Overnight, Russia faced the most massive Ukrainian drone attack in the past 6 months. The targets, energy facilities, and enterprises linked to the military industry. Due to the strikes, airports in Sochi, Galenzik, Krasnodar, Yaroslavl, Kaluga, Nizhny Novgorod, Tambov, and Saratov temporarily suspended operations. In Dzerzhinsk, Nizhny Novgorod region, the Sverdlov plant, one of Russia's largest explosives producers, was hit. Okay, so we had a defense plant also being attacked. I do have video footage of this today. The Sverdlov plant, located in the Nizhny Novgorod region, producing major explosives for Russia's military. This facility came under attack last night by Ukrainian drones. Also in occupied Feodosia, the largest oil and fuel terminal in Crimea, was struck. The marine oil terminal was used to supply occupied territories in Zaporizhzhia and Kherson regions. And 2 apps, according to local authorities, debris fell on an oil refinery. Explosions and air defense activity were reported overnight. So the port of 2 apps is going to be down in the Krasnodar Krai, right on the coastline with the Black Sea. This is a port that just came under attack a few weeks ago. At the same time, the Novorossiysk port came under attack. So apparently there's a refinery over there that could have been attacked. And we have information that debris is usually what the Russian authorities say fell on the oil refinery. So it could have been possible that maybe Ukrainian drones struck that facility down there. But we have not been able to confirm that. It also says in the Belgorod region, energy facilities were damaged. 24 settlements were left without power. And in Klintsy, Bryansk region, a strike hit the local thermal power plant. Residents there also left without heat or electricity. So here's the confirmation and the report coming out from Ukraine's general staff recording some of these strikes. I believe this should be the fire coming from the Feodosia oil terminal in Crimea. So crazy the amount of hits that we saw overnight from Ukraine. And now for Vicegrad 24 breaking, Ukraine has launched an unusually large attack of suicide drones against Russia tonight. Some of the drones have just arrived near the Moscow region. So look at this huge attack onto Russia overnight, different regions being targeted here. So the information that we do have today, the Belgorod Oblast, that thermal power plant was hit again. Lots of reports as well that these thermal power plants located here in Belgorod and then also in Bryansk could have been attacked by missiles. And if that's the case, we are really starting to see Ukraine utilizing a lot of missiles. They've been talking about that recently. So Bryansk region and Belgorod going to be where we have these thermal power plants, and then the combined heat and power plant here in Bryansk that was hit. And then also, see a lot of drones were crossing through the Kursk region as well. And then up in Nizhny Novgorod Oblast, that's going to be right up here in this area where we have the Sverdlov plant producing explosives that came under attack. You can see a lot of drones were heading up this direction over here. And aside from that, Feodosia is going to be down on the eastern side of the peninsula of Crimea down here close to the Kerch Strait. And then also a lot of drones going around Crimea, heading on over to Sochi and the port of Tuapse allegedly overnight. So huge attack onto the Krasnodar Krai, just attacks really anywhere inside of Russia. We do also have video footage of explosions out of Voronezh right here. You can see a lot of drones are crossing through this oblast. So let's move on to Anton Gerashenko now. Crimean Telegram channels report a large fire at an oil depot in Feodosia, Russian-occupied Crimea, after a drone attack. So check out this new video coming out from overnight showing a huge blaze over here right between these oil storage tanks. And I believe what was hit was one of these oil storage tanks. So again, I remember Ukraine reporting this before. I think they used Neptune missiles to actually strike this place. It wouldn't surprise me if that's what they used again, because they have done that in the past. And I do have some reports today. I think towards the end of this video, we have Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, confirming they've been utilizing Neptune missiles recently. So I wonder if they're stating that because they used it last night. So as we can see, a huge fire at this facility. Massive destruction will be caused from that. Now, Vicegrad 24 breaking intense Ukrainian missile and drone strikes against Russian targets tonight, with Crimea being particularly hard hit. The video shows the moment the Ukrainians hit an oil depot in Feodosia, Crimea. So yeah, you're going to see the actual direct strike on this Feodosia oil terminal down here located in eastern Crimea. Take a look.
Ёбаный в рот. Что это происходит?
So we can hear all that gunfire there in the distance from Russian forces trying to shoot down most likely a Ukrainian drone over here. It looks like that was not enough, because towards the beginning you could see it was dark, and then all of a sudden this huge blaze over there. Look at that fireball reaching up into the sky, probably hundreds of meters into the sky after that direct hit right there. Very crazy video footage coming out. So massive hit to the Feodosia oil terminal located in Crimea. Now, Special Kursk Cat missile strike once again targeted a Russian thermal power plant in Belgorod. I've got a 12-second clip of the thermal power plant being attacked, and somebody was recording it. Take a look. All right, so yeah, if you take a look at this video, it almost kind of sounds like that could have been missiles being used. Not really sure. It could have been drones as well. But some people were indicating that it actually was missiles striking the Belgorod thermal power plant. And we can also see in this video that the lights are still on. So it looks like that damage did not cause an immediate blackout in this area. But we do have some video to confirm that today. Check out this from Igor Sushko. Russia, Ukrainian missiles struck energy infrastructure in Belgorod, resulting in a blackout. This was in response to Russia doing the same thing in Zaporizhia, Lviv, and Cherniv. Okay, so we got video footage here about 7 seconds long, and see already the blackout there. So lights were on, and then all of a sudden, bam, lights go out due to these strikes inside of Belgorod. And again, we saw the same thing happening last week. And if you notice, Igor Sushko is talking about how Ukraine's responding in kind to what happened inside of their territory. So what I missed over the weekend, what I did not report to you guys on Sunday, as usually I'm not here those days, is over the night of Saturday, Russia launched a huge attack onto Ukraine, somewhere around 500 drones and 50 missiles being fired. And apparently, majority of the strikes were on the western side of the country near the Lviv region. And Russia was going after more energy sites again. So we're seeing that like crazy inside of Ukraine. Russia's really trying to put Ukraine into the dark ahead of winter. So Ukraine is responding, doing the same thing. And they told Russia that, you know, if you attack our energy facilities, we will do the same thing back and strike yours. So that's why we're seeing so much war on energy right now. And if you saw my thumbnail, had that as the title today. So we are really going to be moving this direction. We're seeing a new phase of this war where Russia and Ukraine are just going to batter each other's energy sites, whether it's be, you know, heating, gas storage facilities, whatever, oil terminals, energy grid, really doesn't matter. We're going to see a major war on energy start to ensue here between Ukraine and Russia. Now, from Null Reports, Belgrade Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov confirmed damage to the region's energy infrastructure. Local hospitals have switched to backup power, and an emergency meeting of the regional government is set to take place within the hour. This was him speaking to the people of the Belgrade region. This is the governor, Vyacheslav Gladkov. Okay, so he was confirming the damage on the thermal power plant and talking about how they were going to be holding an emergency meeting of the regional government to talk about how they're going to be responding to this crisis, because obviously the power is going to be knocked out over here. So again, second time in the last week, Ukraine going after this thermal power plant over here in the Belgrade region. So it looks like they got the power back on. Ukraine went ahead and shut it down again overnight. Now, it was in technical. Moments ago, Ukrainian forces successfully struck the Luch power station in the Russian city of Belgrade. This is the second Ukrainian strike on the facility in 24 hours, as Russian residents in Belgrade report more power outages. Yeah, so if one strike last night was not enough, Ukraine went ahead apparently just a few hours ago. You can see the date here, October 6, 2025, 4 a.m. at right about that time, my time this morning. So this probably would have been somewhere around 2 p.m. in the afternoon over inside of Russia in this area. Ukraine went ahead and bombed it again. So they're really trying to shut down that thermal power plant, period, okay, and knock out the power to all these residents here located in Belgrade. Belgrade's a huge city close to the border of Ukraine. Roughly about 300,000 people live in this area. So that's going to be causing widespread chaos here as the power continues to go out and Ukraine is destroying that power plant. Look at this now from Slava. Ukrainian missiles have just destroyed the Luch electrical substation in Belgrade. The city is again without electricity, says Russian media. So Russian media couldn't even hide this. And look at the damage here. You can actually see all these panels on the side of this power plant completely ripped off. So again, more reports that these were missiles being used. And if this is the case, I mean, we are going to see some huge damage inside of Russia, more than what we've been seeing in the past, because we know that missiles are much harder to be shot down. They also cause a lot more damage because they've got larger warheads. They're more powerful. So we're going to be seeing a lot of damage inside of Russia moving forward in the future. And we know Ukraine is upping their game right now. They're getting a lot of help with missiles. The West is supplying the missiles right now. Ukraine's also working on their own. They've got the Flamingo and these ballistic missiles they're working on. I mean, it's only going to continue to get worse for Russia as we move forward in the future. Ukraine is getting stronger by the day, and they're carrying out worse attacks inside of Russian territory. All right, now from Michael McKay, Ukrainian defenders hit the combined heat and power plant in Klintsy, Bryansk region on the territory of the Russian fascist invaders. Here's the video footage coming out overnight as Ukraine struck this thermal power plant also that provides heat and also power to the Bryansk region of Russia. A huge fire broke out and major damage, lots of power outages reported, and also heating shortages located in this area. So that was a very big hit by Ukraine. Moving on to Tartyagami, UA. Footage published on Telegram suggests a fire in Dzержinsk at the Sverdlov plant, one of Russia's largest producers of explosives for military and industrial use. The site is near Nizhny Novgorod and Gostovo, where a fire flaring was filmed at a local refinery yesterday. So this is that strike on that defense plant producing explosives located in the Nizhny Novgorod region. Again, over the weekend, we actually had a report that the Kostovo oil refinery, located close to where this defense plant was hit, was also reportedly struck by Ukrainian drones, and we had major destruction to that oil refinery. We've been reporting lots of different refineries being attacked recently, along with today that oil depot down in Feodosia. This was video footage allegedly coming out from that area, potentially showing fire coming from the Sverdlov plant located here in the Nizhny Novgorod Oblast. Here's more information now. Vicegrad 24 breaking. Ukrainian suicide drones and missiles are hitting targets in the Voronezh region of Russia. So Voronezh also coming under attack. We know drones were crossing through this region. Here's a 6-second clip. Take a look.
Ух, ебать! Ебать, вон он. Ух, ебать!
All right, so massive explosion over here in the Voronezh region. I'm not sure exactly what it was that was struck, but we did have a huge hit. Looks like it could have possibly been a missile attack over here as well, because it's a pretty large explosion, but if not, it was definitely a drone. Now, Max 25, Saki Airfield in Novo Fedorivka is under attack by drones, and the shooting continues. According to Krimsky Viter. Okay, so this is a new video coming out from allegedly the Saki Airfield, or at least nearby. Somebody who's recording lots of heavy gunfire. It is going to be a little hard to hear in the video. You might have to listen closely. I have the sound turned up as high as I can get it, but you're going to hear gunfire in the background, allegedly coming from the Saki military airfield in Crimea. All right, so not sure if you guys were able to hear that, but you could definitely hear some gunfire there in the background coming from allegedly the Saki military airfield, which has been attacked numerous times over the past few weeks. Also, the Kasha military airfield is another airfield that is consistently attacked by Ukrainian drones. So we definitely had some explosions down here. Apparently, the Saki airfield was under attack by Ukraine. Now some information from Max 25. Powerful explosions near Andriivka. Kasha airfield is nearby, according to Krimsky Veter. Yeah, so allegedly explosions nearby the Kasha military airfield, but we were not able to confirm whether the Kasha airfield was actually attacked. This is an airfield that Ukraine has attacked numerous times. We've even had reports of helicopters being destroyed over here and also military aircraft. So waiting for more details on that, but allegedly could have had strikes on the Kasha airfield as well in Crimea. All right, now Vicegrad 24 breaking. The Ukrainian army just hit a large Russian ammunition depot in Pavlopil near Mariupol. So this is a very big report that was just starting to break yesterday afternoon. Reports that a large ammunition depot was allegedly destroyed over here in Pavlopil, just a little bit northeast of Mariupol. Now, Mariupol is going to be a major transport and rail hub city for the Russians. We know a lot of railway shipments come in from the east of Mariupol from Russia directly into Mariupol. Then they disperse a lot of this military equipment to the front lines in the Donetsk Oblast and also Zaporizhzhia regions of Ukraine. And I'm hearing that this could be a very significant attack from Ukraine that could prevent a lot of Russian assaults in the future due to all this ammunition being destroyed. It's going to affect a lot of the resupply missions as well. So that could be very big news. Right now, this is just a preliminary report. We're waiting for more details on that, but very big news that allegedly an ammunition depot was destroyed down here. We might get some video footage coming out later. Now, Vicegrad 24, 15-year-old Anastasia was killed in a Russian suicide drone strike on her home in Lviv this morning. Another 3 of her family members were also killed in the attack. Very sad news to report this, but this actually wasn't this morning. It was yesterday morning. You can see the date here, October 5th, 2025. Just want to give you some updates on this major attack onto Western Ukraine. Yesterday, as I was not here for you guys, just wanted to share a few updates. Apparently, this young woman here, 15 years old, Anastasia, along with some family members, 3 of her family members were killed in this attack from a Russian suicide drone yesterday in Lviv. Very sad to report this, but it was being widely spread across social media just today and yesterday. Now next, missile debris in Lviv courtyard. A large fragment of a Russian cruise missile lies in the middle of a residential complex in Lviv. This is probably a fragment of one of the missiles that were shot down. We know a large majority were taken down, but there were a lot of missiles attacking in this area, and here's part of one of these missiles that were found just laying here in a residential complex in the city of Lviv in western Ukraine. Very insane video to see that there. Let me know what you think on that. Now, NOAA reports nearly half of Russian refineries have been hit. Fuel exports are crashing and the Kremlin can't stop it. 60% of Ukraine's deep strikes are carried out by FP-1 drones. There are reports that Kiev is now also fielding the FP-5 Flamingo cruise missile with a 3,000-kilometer range and a 1,150-kilogram warhead. Here's a report from The Economist today. Ukraine's hellfire is intensifying the Kremlin's fuel crisis. Almost half of Russia's refineries have been hit by drones and missiles. So isn't that crazy? About half of refineries inside of Russia have been attacked at least one time, by Ukrainian drones and missiles. And we know that the FP-1 drone is produced by a major company that's also producing the FP-5 Flamingo cruise missile at the same time. Apparently, the FP-1 is the #1 drone that is striking a lot of these oil refineries. Very big news, and we know that the Flamingo cruise missile is starting to up production. I'm sure these missiles will start doing huge damage against oil refineries in the future in Russia. Now, NOAA reports Zelensky says Ukraine has successfully used Neptune cruise missiles and that a time is coming when Kiev will regularly employ domestically built ballistic missiles. An effective national ballistic capability is a core security guarantee and a top priority for industry and government. So this was a huge statement from Zelensky today, stating that Ukraine has been successfully using the Neptune cruise missiles for strikes on Russian targets. And it made me wonder if maybe they used this last night on the Feodosia oil terminal. Very possible they did, but if not, it was definitely Ukrainian drones that struck it. And he's talking about how in the future they're going to be deploying ballistic missiles, their own domestically made missiles that they'll be using for strikes on targets inside of Russia. And again, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that here in the future. Now, Max 25, Reuters reports Kirishi oil refinery, one of Russia's largest, has shut down its main AVT 6 primary oil processing unit after a drone strike and fire on October 4th. The shutdown could take about a month. The shutdown will reduce oil product production in Russia, which is already facing a fuel crisis and shortage of some grades of gasoline due to repeated attacks on its energy infrastructure by Ukrainian drones. The plant, owned by Surgutneftgaz, is meanwhile restoring another primary unit damaged in a previous attack in September. The company plans to operate at 70% capacity by bringing in other units. So this is a big update regarding the Kirishi oil refinery. Just a few days ago, they came under attack in the Leningrad region of Russia, up near St. Petersburg. And what we're hearing is that it has shut down its main AVT 6 primary oil processing unit that came under attack just on October 4th, 2 days ago. So we reported this to you guys. I think it was on either Friday or Saturday that we talked about this. And yeah, apparently it's going to be shut down for about a month. And they're running at limited capacity right now, roughly about 70%. And last time it got hit, we heard that there was an oil processing unit that was utilized for about 30%. 38%, I think, is what it was of oil capacity at this plant that was struck and destroyed. That was an attack that took place a couple weeks ago. Then Ukraine went ahead and bombed it again. So we're hearing major disruptions here at this plant coming out today from Reuters. Now, Vicegrad 24 drone sighting temporarily disrupts traffic at Norway's Oslo airport. The Norwegian news agency cited police as saying they had received a report around midnight that a Norwegian air pilot thought he saw 3 to 5 drones during an approach to the airport. So again, more information that drone sightings are popping up inside of Europe again, back again in Norway. Usually it's been Denmark or Sweden or Germany. Germany was the most recent to be reporting drone sightings, but now these drones are apparently showing up back in Oslo again at one of the major airports over there in Norway. So not good to hear. These drones continue showing up, and so far Europe is still not responding to this in any way. We're going to have to see what they choose to do, but this is still ongoing for nearly almost 3 weeks now. Now, Vicegrad 24, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that the drone spotted over Germany belonged to Russia. According to Merz, Europe's airspace is being violated more frequently than during the Cold War. We assume that Russia is behind most of these drone flights. So far, there have been no incidents involving armed drones, only espionage attempts and efforts to cause public anxiety, the German leader said. Earlier in October, Munich airport suspended operations twice after unidentified drones were detected nearby. Similar incidents were reported in the state of Schleswig-Holstein. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov denied the accusations, saying Russia does not launch drones over Europe. He called the appearance of unidentified UAVs over Germany, Denmark, Norway, Poland, and other countries indeed rather strange, but insisted there was no reason to blame Russia. Yeah, so, what's going on over here? Now we've got the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz claiming that these drones belong to Russia. Now, so far there hasn't been any actual evidence that's been unveiled to determine that, whether that's actually Russia doing it, but it would make sense that it is Russia, especially with Denmark being the number one country that has been invaded by these drones. We know that a large percentage of their GDP they're spending on war supplies for Ukraine. Military equipment is flowing into Ukraine from Denmark. So it makes sense that this would be Russia doing this. But again, we have not been able to confirm that it actually is Russia. There's been some speculation that maybe some ships are launching some of these drones, or if not, maybe these drones are coming from within some of these countries. Maybe there's people on the ground that are doing this, but still right now, so far, nobody has been affected by these drones. The most they've been doing is really just shutting down airspace over airports and military sites located in certain NATO member nations. So very crazy news. Now, War Translated, a Russian war correspondent, complains that due to Ukrainian drones, the chances of simply reaching the front lines are 50-50, and the life expectancy of a Russian assault soldier in the war in Ukraine is 12 days. You heard that right, 12 days. Look at this report here. Why are there not enough of these assault troops? Because commanders see them as expendable. They'll get new ones, but the general staff demands advances. For advances, bonuses. And you'll also have to work off advances. The average life cycle of an assault troop member is 12 days. Day 1, they sign the contract and arrive at the training ground. Days 2 to 11, training at the training ground. Day 12, the last, deployment to positions. In hotspots, out of 2 soldiers, only 1 reaches the position at best. Because of enemy drones, because there almost no one systematically intercepts the initiative in the sky. No resources, skills, or desire. Where there are no Mavics and FPV, assault troops replace them. I often talk to those who have signed the contract and are deployed to positions. I ask, do you understand that you're screwed tomorrow? What's your motivation? Most often the answer is, my family will get payments. That's insane. And here's my answer. I don't sign the contract because from the moment of signing, the countdown of my last 12 days begins. So wow, guys, look at that. So day 1, they sign a contract and arrive at the training ground. Day 2 to 11, the next, 9 or 10 days or so, they go to a training ground and get training. And then on the final day, they get deployed to positions. And within those next 24 hours, based on what I see here, many of these soldiers have already been eliminated on the battlefield. This is due to Ukrainian FPV drones that are controlling the skies inside of eastern and southern Ukraine. And we know that the Russians are not really advancing much inside of Ukraine. This only continues to explain that even more. This was a Russian war correspondent that was talking about this. So the most insane part here is where it says that when he asks people, don't you know you're screwed tomorrow? You're not going to be around much longer, right? After you go to the front line. That many people just say, my family will get payment. So all they care about is even if they lose their life, their family is going to get paid from the government in Russia due to losing their lives. And, imagine that down the road. Imagine all these families that are going to continue to get payments when we're having, hundreds of thousands of Russian soldiers that are losing their lives over here inside of Ukraine. We already know there's well over 1 million casualties on the Russian side that's being reported. So that is absolutely insane news. Let me know how you feel on that. Now, War Translated, Reuters reports that up to 5,000 Cubans are fighting in Ukraine on the side of Russia. Citing an internal U.S. State Department cable, the agency writes that Cuba is the second largest source of foreign troops in the Russian army after North Korea. According to various estimates, between 1,000 and 5,000 Cubans are fighting against Ukraine. Wow, and take a look at this report. This is pretty crazy too. That Reuters reporting that 5,000 Cubans are fighting in Ukraine on the side of Russia. So Russia can get soldiers from Cuba, North Korea, and imagine, all these other mercenaries that they're getting from all throughout these different African nations and wherever throughout the world. Yet Ukraine cannot have European troops down on the ground to help them out when they're defending themselves from an aggressor, somebody that's attacking them. That's mindset to me just doesn't make any sense. That Russia will not allow Ukraine to receive any Western, troops on the ground. Yet at the same time, they can go get people from Cuba right next to the United States and have them fight inside of Ukraine. So pretty insane news, guys. We continue to hear that Russia is just deploying troops from all over the world. More countries are getting involved, and this war is continuing to expand. Now, Bliskovka, Air Defense Forces of Ukraine shot down to suppress 83 out of 116 UAVs. 30 attack UAVs were recorded at 7 locations. The attack continues with several enemy UAVs in the airspace. Here's a report today, 116 drones going into Ukraine, 83 of those being shot down. Very good to see, but we have been seeing these numbers really starting to jump up. Okay, we've been seeing 100 or more per day, and then about 1 or 2 times per week, we see Russia launching a huge attack, 300, 400, 500 drones, 30 to 50 missiles at a time, just really battering Ukraine's energy grid. So we're seeing a lot more drones going into Ukraine this week than we were just a week or 2 ago. Now, Kyiv Independent, these are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of October 6, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In our final update, Russia's losses as of October 6, 1,090 troops, 14 AFVs, 63 vehicles and fuel tanks, 5 tanks, 18 artillery systems, 363 UAVs, 1 anti-aircraft warfare system, and 38 cruise missiles. So these missiles were the ones that were attacking the western side. 38 of around 50, I believe, were being taken down. 1 anti-aircraft warfare system, that's good news. These things could be anywhere from 30 to 60 million or more, depending on the system that was destroyed. And then aside from that, 18 artillery systems, these numbers have been dropping a lot recently, closer to like 15 per day, when we usually see about 30 or 40 on average. Tanks and AFVs starting to jump up here, especially AFVs. That's the highest number we've seen in a while. You usually see 5 or less for both of these. 63 vehicles and fuel tanks, about to average. We have been seeing these numbers really dropping a lot recently over the last few days, closer to like 50. And then troop losses up quite a bit today. Usually see about 900 there, up to almost 1100. So pretty significant losses here on the Russia side. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in for today's update on October 6, 2025. Hope you guys all have a great day and a rest of your week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.